Welcome back, Remodelites, to another episode of Remodel Rundown. And in this episode, we're going to cover a couple of top industry headlines for the remodeling industry. And we're going to dive into this week's KB Tribe Chat from Twitter. And we're going to talk about outdoor living. So without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, so the headlines this week are actually pretty minimal. There have not been a lot of vendor updates. Everybody's holding strong, and a lot of vendors are open. In fact, I would say the majority of vendors are open. We still don't have freezers in Southern California. When that'll happen, I don't know. I'm being quoted lead times anywhere from June to sometime in September. So we'll see when that happens. But if this is your first time joining us, go ahead and click like and subscribe if you like what you see. And all right, sorry about that. Had a temporary technical malfunction. The first headline is again surrounding COVID. Yay. So basically the headline here reads, COVID-19 impact, though declining, still leaving a mark on the trade. And I think that goes to a lot of what we're going to see as we go forward. I'll leave a link to the actual article down below. But what I really want to point out is this is really just a survey of people's opinions, but it's a lot of people's opinions, and opinions have a tendency to become reality. So the long story short here is it's not looking good, and it won't look good for a very long time, and accepting that reality is not necessarily a bad thing. So I honestly believe that we will probably see a resurgence in the coronavirus before we develop a vaccine. And the reality is that's just probably what's going to happen. And especially with protests right now, and I understand the need for it, absolutely, but there's a high likelihood of a resurgence of the virus because of a lot of people in close proximity. So we're going through some very tough times in this country. And while I am hopeful long term that a lot of what's happening right now is going to have a positive change, have positive effect, it's going to be tough getting through it. And so if you're somebody who's affected by either COVID or, by the current situation with, with the Black Lives Matter movement, then my heart goes out to you. Absolutely. So I don't tend to get too political, but I don't think this is political. I think this is just human common decency. And on that note, that's really it for headlines. So let's jump into the KB Tribe Chat for this week. So last week I made a series of videos about KB Tribe Chat on Twitter. Every Wednesday afternoon they do a Q&A session with people from within the remodeling industry where they talk about the latest trends in design and home renovation. This week's topic, outdoor living trends. So for the last 15 years, I've helped people put together kitchens, baths, outdoor kitchens, and various other home renovation projects. And especially for me, living in Southern California, outdoor kitchens are a big thing. We can cook outdoors pretty much year round. So let's go ahead and discuss outdoor living trends. So the very first question to come off of that, the very first question to come out of that discussion was, as a result of everyone sheltering in place this spring, what outdoor living trends are you expecting to emerge this year? And I think this sheltering in place is actually going to be a big catalyst for a lot of home remodel needs. I have to admit that my family has used our grill a lot more over the last several months than we probably have in the last year before that combined. And I suspect there's a lot of other people that have as well, especially since we can't pick up and go to the beach or go to parks or picnics and things like that. I think as a trend, we're going to see more and more people paying closer and closer attention to making sure that they have good quality materials and maybe some more interesting materials and interesting appliances in their outdoor kitchen, because it's about a lot more than just a barbecue grill. And that's the crux of all of this, is that in an outdoor kitchen, there are so many more things that you can do, so much that you can have, so much more available to you than what is traditionally available, or what people think is traditionally available. So one of the key products, well, I'll get into some key products in some future questions here, but Evo Grill, hearth ovens, the American Muscle Grill, which I did a video on last year, is a very interesting appliance. These are all very interesting appliances that take cooking to the next level, because here's the thing: anything that you can cook in your kitchen inside, you can cook in your outdoor kitchen. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever, you name it, you can cook it outside. And especially, again, as I said, here in Southern California, we are rather spoiled. We can do that. I mean, even today it's slightly overcast, but I could go outside and grill if I wanted to. As far as color trends go, color trends are hugely personal. However, I have definitely seen a giant uptick in a desire for biophilic design. Something like this. Now, this happens to be the Perch Outdoor Kitchen display at Glendale Galleria in Los Angeles. And you'll notice how along the back wall they accented it with greenery. Those are actually live greens that get attended to by a greenskeeper. Now, this is an indoor-outdoor space, like you would see maybe if you were to go to some place that had a little bit more snow than we have in Southern California. But even semi-covered outdoor spaces that you would see in Southern California would be able to make good use of a design trick like this. So, biophilic design. American psychologist Edward O. Wilson popularized the term biophilia, which literally means love of nature, and a need to connect to the natural world back in the 80s. After he observed rates of urbanization were leading to people feeling a disconnect from the natural world. So that is it's an old concept, but it's a concept specifically in design that is only currently being explored. Now, if you were to Google this term, biophilic design, you would find that a lot of the literature available out there is more geared towards commercial spaces, shopping centers, things like that. But I did actually find a very useful book by Sally, Sally Coulthard. I hope I'm saying that right. Biophilia, Natural Design for Living Well, where she actually does focus in on specifically design, nature, and home. So that is, I put a link in the description below. So check that out if that's something that you are interested in. It's available on Kindle for $8.99 or hardcover for $21.99. So let's see. There are a number of underrated outdoor accessories that, even though they've been out for many, many years, people are just now discovering. One of my favorites has to be the Evo Grill, made in America. It's probably the most underrated outdoor accessory. With 2 different burners, an inner and an outer, you can actually get up to 300 degrees of separation on this thing. But that's not even the most impressive part. The most impressive part is it's very versatile. Not only can you cook directly on the cooking surface, but you can also cook with cookware right on the surface as well. So this means you also get a 360-degree cooking experience. So let's say you're grilling out with your friends. Everybody can be standing completely around the grill. Once we don't have to social distance anymore. It comes in indoor, outdoor, and tabletop models. Yep, indoor, outdoor, and tabletop models. So the Evo Grill is probably one of the greatest underrated appliances in the outdoor kitchen. I have to say it's either it's a toss-up between a good-sized hearth oven and an Evo Grill. And the Evo Grill, it's made actually in Everett, Washington. It's a U.S. made product as well, which is huge. You don't see that a lot anymore. There's a lot of grills out there that are coming out of China. So Evo Grill, made in Everett, Washington. It is not a cheap product at $39.95 for the freestanding model that you saw in that video here. It is, like I said, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but the cool thing about it is it does have 2 separate rings in here, an inner and an outer. It has that 300 degrees of separation. It has the ability to both cook directly on the rolled steel surface. This is a rolled steel surface, so it is not actually cast iron. However, from a cooking perspective, it actually does behave a lot like cast iron. And you'll season it probably with corn oil would be the best thing to season this thing with. I've had, as I've said before, I've had breakfast, lunch, and dinner all off of this appliance, and it does a really good job. I've had everything from baking a cake to, your traditional, burgers and brats and, things like that. So, yeah, one of the most versatile appliances out there. Yeah, you look at some of these and it's not going to do everything that some of those will. They even have an attachment for tailgating. I'll admit, I got stumped on this question. I had to Google it. A victory garden basically means growing your own food at home. And I gotta say, after all the different shortages and everything that we've experienced through this whole COVID situation, I have to say, I get the appeal now. Now, I don't happen to have the greenest of thumbs. In fact, I would say that my thumbs are so brown that I could kill a cactus. In fact, I have. But for those of you that have the time, patience, and skill for something like this, well, more power to you. That is so huge and so correct. I cannot grow a plant to save my life. But I try sometimes. So I'll throw that out to you in the audience. What do you do? Do you garden at home? Do you like to, do you have a victory garden where you can cook your, grow your family's groceries right there at home? That is awesome if you can. What, too soon? That one was just sort of a joke response to question number 6, which was basically what drinks are you looking forward to preparing? That one was more of a social question anyway, so I just made a joke. Because the reality is, I don't do a lot of mixed drinks. Do you? Put your favorite recipe in the comments below. But yeah, with mixed drinks, I don't do that. I'm kind of a beer drinker. I'll have whatever's being served. That's kind of my thing. And although my guilty pleasure is probably Diet Coke. I know, one of the most boring responses ever, but it's the truth. And now it's no secret that I love to eat. And the best chicken off the barbecue I've ever had, hands down, 100%, is also one of the easiest to prepare, as long as you have a rotisserie. You take equal parts water, soy sauce, brown sugar. Put it in a spray bottle, mix it up. You should come out with just sort of a watery brown liquid. Put the rotisserie on, throw on some medium heat on the grill, and you take your chicken, and every 5 minutes or so you come out, spritz it down all over. A couple hours later, you have a perfectly tender on the inside, but cooked all the way through, no pink chicken, with what I can only describe as like a candy crusted coating. It's awesome. So yeah, that is my go-to recipe when it comes to barbecuing chicken. And especially when I want to impress somebody. When I first got that recipe, when I first tasted that chicken, I was working at a showroom down in San Diego, and the chef made it, and I thought, you must have trained for years to be able to do that. He's like, no, simple. He gave me the recipe. And I've made it a couple of times. First time I made it, I actually used my little Ron Popeil set it and forget it rotisserie, and that didn't work quite the same. That's an electric rotisserie, and this chicken I had was over it. But it still cooked it all the way through, and it did a really good job, and it still tasted really good. It just didn't have that flame broiled taste. So not quite the same. Not quite the same. Now, if you were paying attention, you'll notice that I skipped question 5, which I didn't actually answer in video format during that chat. But I would like to talk about it right now. And question number 5 is, how can we grow herbs and other produce inside the home? Share your tips and ideas you have. Now, for somebody like me, I think I would need something that is very user-friendly and maybe even dummy-proof. So I would probably look at something like the Danby Fresh, which is right here. Danby Fresh, which there's a link in the description below. It's an indoor garden home herb grower, and it's available in 2 different sizes. But long story short, if you're looking to grow specifically herbs and you want to do it indoors and you want them to get an adequate amount of sunlight and things like that and have controlled humidity, all that good stuff. I would definitely be more into that. There looks like there's a countertop model, as well as maybe this one's made to be built-in. That one looks almost about the size of a built-in under-counter refrigerator, or at least freestanding in the corner, you know. Now, in California, with legalized marijuana, I definitely see an application there as well. But yeah, that is an interesting, one of the most interesting appliances I've found in recent years for indoor growing. So that concludes our discussion today on outdoor living. What do you think? What do you have outdoors? What are you excited about putting outdoors? Let me know down in the comments. And right now, speaking of comments, I think we should dive into some user comments right here. So, share the screen. Boom. All right. So Kathleen Waters says, my sink measures 20 by 30 and 3/4 on top. Double bowl sink, one larger than the other. Do they still make sinks this size? I would like a black sink. Not sure if that would be wise for durability or if they even make black kitchen sinks. The short answer to your question right here, Kathleen, is yes, they do. And you're going to have two choices of materials in black sinks. You're going to have silgranit as a composite stone type of material. Silgranit is a brand name, but there are a number of companies that make silgranit or composite quartz, composite granite type sinks. Or you're going to have that black porcelain. What I suspect, what most people are asking for when they ask for a black sink, it's usually a black porcelain. And so there's really two companies that I would explore to look for that. I would look at either Danby. I'm sorry, I have the Danby window open. I would look at either Kohler, or I would look at a company called Seco, Commercial Enameling Company, CECO Sinks.com. And you said on top, which I'm assuming means this is a top mount sink. So let's take a look here at their kitchen. So we'll say kitchen. Bear with me a second here. There we go. Kitchen sinks. I was clicking it too many times. All right, kitchen sinks, and then cast iron sinks from Seco. We'll say kitchen sinks. Now, full disclosure, black is probably going to take a little bit of a lead time. I imagine you're going to be quoted anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks on a black sink like this. So that's just what it's going to be right there. 30 by 18, 30 by 20. You said, what was your size? 30 and 3/4 by 20. So obviously do a little double checking. I'm assuming that, and you said it was a big and little too. Right? I would like a black sink. Not sure if it would be wise for, or if you even make black sinks. So she didn't really say if she wants to replace it with a double equal or if she wants to replace it with a big and little. So we're just going to go with this Aliso flat rim right here would be an option. Make sure if you're dropping it in, you're going to drop it in with this metal ring. It is available in black. So you're looking at about, looks like the base price is $746 in white, and then you add $282. So rim mount, you'd be about $1,000, and you may have to purchase what's called a hootie rim separately. So you see how this has the a metal rim around the edge right here. That is what is affectionately referred to in the plumbing industry as a hootie rim. But that's one option. I want to see if Kohler has an option. I suspect that Seco is more likely to be a longer lead time than Kohler. But let's see. Size side to side. Let's say less than 33. And we will say installation type. Again, I'm assuming you're talking about a top mount or a drop-in or a rim mount type sink. And we're going to say color or finish. A number 7 black. So, let's take a look. Oh, and we said number of bowls. Number of holes, material, color, product family, bowl depth. Nope, can't narrow down by number of bowls. So yeah, with Kohler, they have a 31 by 22. Yeah, I imagine this is probably the challenge that you're running into there, Miss Waters, is that you are probably finding a lot of 22s and not a lot of 20s. If you want a 20, I'm going to recommend you go to Seco. I'm going to leave a link to this product. Let's see, is there an Amazon link to that we can refer you to? But you'll always call your local distributor, of course. But did you mean Coco? No. Okay. So let's put a link to this one. And we will say, hi, Kathleen. Thanks for your question. I got a chance to dive into it in depth in my recent live stream. Check out this product right here. Drop link. New paragraph. To check out Finn's product. Now check out this product. If you want to see what I discussed regarding this product, check out my live stream here and go to about the 25-minute mark. And we are going to go open link in new tab And we will say let's close some of these extra tabs, shall we? All right, and then we go to videos and we take the link from the video, this video that we're recording right now. Go to live stream. Go to get shareable link. Copied. Boom. All right. So, Miss Kathleen Waters, I hope that helps you. And let me know if you have any further follow-up questions to that. And we're going to go ahead and give her comment a like and a heart. Okay. So Enlil WL says, I'm really surprised with how American dishwashers work. Here in Europe, they all have water softeners, even the cheapest. They never have heating elements outside the tub. They don't have this solid food thing. This is odd and disgusting. How can you put solid food in a dishwasher? Don't you have bins in your kitchen to throw solid food? There is also kind of mistake in Europe. They all dry dishes. Maybe not in USA, but again, this is so weird. So, all right. I'm going to say hi, ENLIL W-L. Well, actually, let me address that first. So, I did a video on how to pick the best dishwasher, and I went through all of the main categories of dishwasher that exist, at least as of time of that recording. It does need an update because there are some new things that have come out in the last year or so since I recorded that episode. But 90% of what's in there is still really good information. You should check it out. However, what he's talking about is there is, in many American-style dishwashers, KitchenAid, GE, etc., then you are going to find a solid food disposer, which is basically a tiny version of what a garbage disposer is. So, Anil, I think you may have misinterpreted what I was referring to. This solid food disposer doesn't actually, you're not actually putting whole pieces of food, but it's the little bits that wash off that could, we don't, you're not supposed to wash the dishes before you wash the dishes, at least not with a decent dishwasher. So in fact, in some dishwashers, you actually do mess up the sensor because you're putting clean dishes in your dishwasher. So you should be putting dirty dishes in your dishwasher. It's something you should do. Should it be caked on or a full plate of food? No, of course not. You're gonna scrape and you're gonna put. But there will still be bits of food left on the plate, probably. And the solid food disposer is supposed to take those bits of food and chop them into smaller bits and send them down the drain. The soft food disposer that you find in like a Bosch or a Miele and other similar made appliances, usually the European style appliances, The soft food disposer is a wire mesh basket, and the little bits of food that fall in there, the water pummels the bits of food against the mesh, and it turns them into ooze. And instead of trying to shove chunks down the drain, now you're shoving ooze down the drain, and that goes down the drain a lot easier. But no, we're not putting entire, steaks in the dishwasher or anything like that, or chicken bones, although it's theoretically possible, I suppose, that one could accidentally get put in there, but it's not for that. No, it's something completely different. So I'm going to tell Enlil WL, thanks for your question. I addressed it in my recent live stream. Link below. Go to about the 35-minute mark. Boom. And we're going to give that a like and a heart, and we're going to reply. And David Fildes says, if you do not have a dishwasher, a double sink with draining board makes life easier. By the way, stainless can be restored easily with a buffing compound. So we're going to give that a like and a heart. And David, we're going to reply to you right now. So true, stainless can be restored. I have recommended in the past a product called Scratch Be Gone. Scratch Be Gone. And that is a great product to use. I highly recommend it. But the thing is, David, there are some people that don't want that hassle. They don't want to do that. And that was the point I was trying to make in my kitchen sink video when I mentioned to people that, yes, stainless steel will scratch. And if you do scratch it, you can buff it back up. You can maintain it. But stainless steel will scratch. It always does, and it always will. I had a client not long ago that called me up. Now, she purchased a very expensive Italian stainless steel sink, and I had this conversation with her that I have with everybody, that stainless steel is antimicrobial. Stainless steel will not leak, it will not rust, and this is a wonderful quality product from a durability standpoint. However, it will look very much, even after the first use, it will look scuffed, scratched, these kinds of things. And she called me up and she sent me a picture and she said, Dave, my stainless steel sink is scratched. It's only been in for a day. I used it once. I said, yeah, this is true. Now, I didn't say it exactly like that, but the reality is, yes, stainless steel sinks scratch. I said to her what I just said to you guys. You can use Scratch Be Gone and buff it out, and it comes with like this little sandpaper swatches and like some rubbing compound and and polish and stuff like that, and it restores stainless steel beautifully as long as you go with the grain. But the reality is, there's some people that just don't want to do that, and so it's important for the buyer to beware and to understand what they're getting into to eliminate that regret. So we're going to reply to David's comment, and we're going to say, I didn't even talk about the drain board. So accessories. I love cool kitchen sink accessories. A quick pro tip for you guys. If you're buying a sink and it comes with accessories that mount on top of the counter, make sure you have the accessories in your hands before your contractor cuts the countertop, because it is possible, not 100% of the time, but possible, that there could be a certain way that he needs to cut it to make sure that accessory fits perfectly. You don't want to get to the end of a project, go to put your cutting board on it, and it's sitting like this on your. You don't want that. You don't. I'm assuming you don't want that. I wouldn't want that. You do you. So, that is my response to you, David. We're going to say hi, David. Absolutely correct. I love sink accessories like this. As far as stainless, yes, it can be restored. But some people don't want the hassle. Different strokes for different folks. I just want everyone to know exactly what to expect. I dove into your comment in my recent live stream. We're going to do live stream, all one word, live stream. Link below. At about the 38-minute mark. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Boom. Paste. Done. So I've been getting a lot of traction lately, on a lot of views on my how to pick a kitchen sink video, which incidentally was actually my very first video, but it's one of the most common questions that I get because people don't always understand what the different materials are, how they work, how they're made. And so I have been getting a lot of views just from that one video. So this next one comes from the exact same that exact same video. A Living Today says, so best would be clay baked porcelain and stone composite. I hate how crud mysteriously appears in the crevice of sink countertop seams. I wonder if the last mentioned counter overhang like bathroom sink would minimize this. One of my houses, the stainless steel sink remained shiny and super easy to clean. When we remodel our next house, I chose a top end stainless steel. It was horrible to keep clean. Whoops. And shine, same with the next home we bought. I never want another stainless steel sink again. I'm also buying a non-divided sink too. Tired of pots too big to fit right. We're going to give that a like and a comment, and we're going to address that right now. Living Today, you hit the nail on the head. I've had stainless steel for years. I don't like it anymore. I'm done with it. Maybe part of it's the fact that I'm bored with it. I don't know. Maybe I've met plenty of people who've had porcelain for years, and they're tired of specifically porcelain enameled cast iron where it chips, and they're tired of the chips, and they want stainless steel. So it's like everybody's got a thing, right? So they made a reference to the fact that in that video, the best would be clay baked or porcelain or stone composite. In that video, I made a comment, something along the lines of, when a customer comes to me and they ask me, Dave, what is the material that's going to last the longest and look the nicest with the least amount of effort. And they say, Dave, what's going to hold up throughout time? Stainless steel will hold up, absolutely. But as we covered previously, it will scratch and you got to buff it out. Cast iron, it'll hold up for a really long time, but as we covered, it's a layer of something on something else, so it can chip. It's a layer of porcelain on top of iron, cast iron. So it will chip, or it can chip. And so that leaves porcelain fire clay, which is, I featured in that video and I showed what that is. And then I did a small section on composite sinks. And composite sinks are incredibly durable, as are fire clay. So fire clay or composite sinks, those are the two materials that fit those criteria when somebody says what's going to stay looking the nicest with the least amount of effort. Fire clay is for the folks who maybe they want porcelain, they want a cast iron, but they don't want to deal with chipping. So fire clay is far less likely to chip. It's baked at a higher temperature. And that's what Living Today is talking about. I had that conversation in that video. The stone composites, likewise, it's the same material all the way through. So it's very dense and very durable. And it is almost impossible to break unless you literally throw the sink and like drop it or something. I've seen UPS manage to break a composite sink by literally kicking it off the end of a truck. I've witnessed this. He kicks it to the end of the truck and he kicks it off. So yeah, I saw the UPS guy do this. I was like, what are you doing? And I heard the crash and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? So yes, it can break, but it's very difficult to do. Very difficult. You got to do really stupid stuff to break those two materials. Hit it with a tool. You got to literally hit it like hard, like with all your strength. But anyway, that being said, that's my quick hot take on sink materials, stainless versus cast iron versus fire clay. So we're going to reply to Living Today. I know exactly what you mean. I've had stainless for years, and I'm done with it. In my remodel, which by the way, guys, I am going through a remodel right now, I'm putting in a blancosilgranit metallic gray super single because I want something of a similar color scheme to a gray stainless, but not actually stainless, but unable to scratch. There you go. Boom. I covered your comment in my recent live stream. Link below. at the 42-minute mark. Let me know what you think. Paste link. Boom, done. The next comment comes from charhondataylor. She says, cool Dolce kitchen. So I actually got a chance to visit the Dolce & Gabbana booth at KBiz, the Smeg Appliances booth at KBiz, which was featuring a kitchen by Dolce & Gabbana. It's thinking. After I'm done with my remodel, maybe I'll upgrade my internet speed. Almost there. Here we go.
Right, a new appliance world. I saw this from across the room here. What's going on here? Smeg is doing something in the industry that has never been done before. They are bringing the fashion label to your kitchen. So the world famous designers, Dolce & Gabbana. So this is our Dolce series. And you can see.
Anyhow, it was really cool and got to see a lot, and I really enjoyed that visit. I've known Chris for years, and he very graciously walked me around. So we're going to reply to charhondataylor. We're going to say, thanks for watching. I gave you covered your comment in my recent live stream. Link below. Let me know what you think. At about we're going to say the 52-minute mark. Boom. Boom. Reply. Now let's see if there are any more comments to go into, because our hour is almost up. One last little shout out here to Mr. Brian McKay. Thanks for watching. I highlighted your comment in my recent live stream. Link below. Boom. At about the 55-minute mark. Well, Brian, thank you for watching. Hope you got some good information out here. I hope the rest of you got some good information out of this episode. As always, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. I'm not hard to find, and I always respond to comments. So I'm going to go ahead and put a link for more videos. I'm going to put a link to subscribe. Share this with all your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.